Resuming. Weird World Order broadcast. Dialer phones connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I am the man that you call Dukes. To my right, here comes the...
Booyah! What's up, everybody? It's your boy. What's up, everybody?
And to my other right, coming in at 178 adamantium-filled pounds, Alfonso X-Man Flores.
First we charge the cards, then we throw them.
Because Gambit has that gravelly voice. Wouldn't you think Gambit just had the "What's up, mon chéri?" like all smooth? Not. I don't know. He sounds like Wolverine.
Well, he's got all the gumbo and all the spices, so he's like, and then he drinks a lot of whiskey. So,
I think
I don't know.
Card X-Man.
let me try. I think first we charge.
He should sound like that. He should sound like that. Oh, mon ami, check out my cards. They glow.
Yeah. Okay, Alfonso.
Mon chéri.
Okay. Quiet on the set.
Okay, let's go.
On the set. Here we go. Alfonso, give us your Raging Cajun.
First we charge the cards, then we throw them. A little Wolverine this time.
Is that Jake Longley? Or Jake Lockley?
No, he speaks Spanish.
Yeah. Okay.
Lockley is a classic Spanish name.
Yeah. Well, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast, the official broadcast of the Nerd World Order community. Gentlemen, let's get right into it. What are the nerdy things that you did this weekend?
I worked Saturday, sadly, but my son got to go to a karate tournament, which I was not able to join, and I was very bummed. But luckily, a friend of the podcast, Devlin, went with him and kind of mentored him, ushered him around. He ended up with 2 gold medals. Not bad for a 6-year-old.
Wow.
And then, of course, Sunday was Mother's Day, so I had to hang out with moms and the mother-in-law, and we just had some lunch. That's about it.
Are you calling your your wife and mother-in-law a couple of nerds?
Oh, no. It took away from my nerddom. I had withdrawals.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Joe, what'd you do this weekend?
Dean, you remember Dean? He came on an episode talking about anime. His son's birthday, ironically, is the same day as your birthday. So shout out to Dean and little JJ. Last night I watched with my son The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Mm-hmm.
So the last of the Harry Potter series for that. Pretty good.
Nice. You liked it then?
Yeah. I mean, it's Harry Potter movie. It's kind of like Marvel, same kind of format, I guess, to their stories.
Do you think I'd like it?
No. I don't think you've ever watched a Harry Potter movie, to be honest.
I watched one Harry Potter movie.
Like number 3?
Which was the first?
Yeah.
The first one?
No, why would I start with the first one? I just jumped in there because, like, Order of the Rising Phoenix or whatever it was, that sounded kind of cool. I was like, oh, wow, a Phoenix. So I watched that one. Well,
you do not like those type of movies.
Yeah, you never know. I might check one out eventually. My weekend was incredibly nerdy. It started on Wednesday. I went to Disneyland Galaxy's Edge for May the 4th. Nice. So I hung out in Tatooine or whatever planet it was, or Disneyland's supposed to be for Galaxy Edge. I headed out there. Is it? What is it?
Batu.
It's Batu. See, here's the thing, right? I kept telling my son it's not Tatooine, right? But then they had some like Tatooine chicken wings. And so I was like, maybe he's right. I mean, I was like, son, this is not Tatooine. Tatooine is more of a desert planet. And he's like, I don't know. But then Tatooine chicken wings. So I was like, well, he wins this round. But apparently it's Batu. So now we know. So I did that. That was really great. Shout out to the Duchess for organizing that, and then the Duchess had a birthday, and then check this out. The
Happy
Duchess
birthday.
is willing. Well, thank you.
Yes, happy birthday.
I'll pass that along to the Duchess because she don't listen to the podcast. Right? She ain't no nerd.
She's not.
She is not a nerd at all. However, she said
No.
she has seen all the Harry Potter movies. So, yeah, right. Let's see here. Then, of course, Friday was, I don't know, we did something nerdy. Saturday was my birthday.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Why, thank you, gentlemen, very much. So we hung out, got to get all my nerdy gifts. And then Sunday was pretty cool. Went to Dana Point, hung out on the beach with the Duchess for kind of like a little Mother's Day, pre-Mother's Day thing. Oh, by the way, to all the ladies out there, to all the ladies. That's how Joe puts it because he's single. I'm like, what's up, ladies? Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all you awesome moms out there. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, had an awesome weekend. Awesome few days. Very nerdy. So that was pretty much me. One thing we all three have in common is we watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Mom. That's why I came around
Yes,
Mother's
sir.
Day. Doctor Strange, Mom.
The
Yep.
the Duchess pointed out that the primary motivation of the villain was motherhood. So that was interesting that it came out around the time of Multiverse of Madness. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn it over to your boy Joe to start us off. Joe, what are your initial thoughts on this on the movie?
Initially, like I think we had discussed prior to, like when we both had watched it, I think the same night, that it's a really good movie, but it's not a Marvel movie. And I think because, Sam Raimi has something to do with it, which I'm okay with. It was very entertaining. I liked it a lot. But the second time watching it, of course, there's a few things that, brings up certain questions. And the one thing about all three of us is the more we watch about certain movies or TV shows and the more we talk about it out loud, the more you start to find certain things that kind of swayed our decision about the movie or TV show, just through discussion. So like I'm kind of excited to hear you guys' thoughts, pick your brains and see what you think. I thought it was good. Mom is going around, especially on TikTok. Everybody's saying that movie is pretty mid-tier. Like it doesn't live up to its expectations, which I think that's just Marvel and those dang freaking commercials, man.
Yeah.
They just come out with these commercials and it paints a certain story and they're really good at it. And you have all these little theories. We had a bunch of theories on our podcast we were talking about, which none of it happened. Some of it maybe, but not all of it. But they're really good at doing that. So when people go watch it, they have a certain taste in what they're looking for. And then when they go and they watch it, and it's not what the preview was showing. And I think that's why a lot of people are calling it mid. What do you guys think?
I was not expecting Wanda to be the bad guy. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought there was going to be some kind of demonic thing going on. I didn't know Wanda was going to be the bad guy, and she was a really good bad guy. All right. There was parts of her, I don't know. It was scary. It was a little scary. I'm like, dude, this is freaking me out, man. Maybe I've had that looked at me too many times, but I'm not going to say anything about my ex-wives, but, but, like she, had some of those classic, horror movie, like ticks and everything. And then the Sam Raimi-isms, with the camera, that was, I appreciate it. A lot of people were kind of thrown off by it, but I like that because I really enjoyed Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, all those movies, I had a really good time. I was really surprised how much they used the exact same set. That same New York set, they'd walk down the street, they'd make a right, they'd be there. They got a lot out of that set, because they could just dress it up differently for different universes and everything. But it was like, to think about it, it's really simple, but they did it very well. So it's like, when you could do something so great with something so simple, it's really appreciated, because it takes you out of it, even though it's the exact same thing, the exact same place, the same rooftop where something's happening there, I was I really liked it. I have only seen it once, and I know exactly what you mean. It's like you're stuck with the whole like, oh man, this is great. And then as you watch it a couple more times, you're like, ooh, but. So I'm not there yet, and I don't know if I'll ever be because I am who I am. I loved it.
And that's why we love you, X-Man.
Yeah.
You bring the sunshine to our day and to our podcast.
Yeah.
Let me talk about X's observation on the set first. It's such an intelligent choice that initially could be overlooked because how far are they really traveling? Not that far. So when you travel from one dimension to another, you're still staying in exactly the same place. It's just like opening up a door between like different rooms in your house. You're not actually traveling that far. So to think of the idea that they are staying within like, let's say a 1 mile radius or a half-mile radius, it's really smart. And to see that over and over again, I'll be honest with you, X, I didn't pick up on that. But as you were saying that, I was like, what? Then I was like, oh, it's very.
The only problem I had with it was they would go from point A to point B, and then they would travel and they'd be back at point A. They shouldn't be back at point A. They should be at B and then go to A. You know what I mean? Or A, B, go back to A, travel, then they walk back to B. You know what I mean? Sorry.
That was probably done off screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead and say it. Lazy writing. Yeah, it was really cool the way that was done. You're right. You rip a hole in time and space, you're going to be in the exact same place. You know, it would have been nice to see a few more other things. You know, like they showed a lot of multiverse, but they pretty much had to get you right to the Illuminati verse, and that did not disappoint.
I'm going to bring up a few topics, and I'm kind of curious to see what you guys are your point of views on these. Let's talk about one point. Remember when Doctor Strange was reading, or he was in the same room as Sinister Strange? And he was talking about how he was killing all the other Doctor Strange through dreams, which there was another point where America Chavez was telling, you know, like, hey, when you have different dreams, it's your other persona in a different reality.
Right.
I don't know if you guys remember this because I watched it on TikTok, I think it was. And basically, Infinity Wars. Do you remember that one scene when Doctor Strange comes to get Iron Man? But prior to him getting Iron Man was telling Potter, like, "Hey, I had this dream that we were having a kid, and it was a son, and his name was Morgan."
Right.
And so that could be the Iron Man from a different reality if he's having those dreams too. And so that's another way that you can get, you know, like an Iron Man back in there and make him a different Iron Man. He doesn't have to look like Robert Downey Jr. He could be Rhodey, you know, from a different dimension, just like how they did with Captain Marvel, where they made it Monica Rambeau instead of Carol Danvers.
Right.
What do you guys think about that?
I definitely think that would be great. You know, we do need an Iron Man. He's such a pivotal Marvel figure, and the fact that, you know, he's gone now, it's like, why can't they just bring in another, you know, Iron Man from another universe? You know, it's definitely possible. There's a dying planet or dying universe out there. You drag him on over, he gets to live. He's, you know, still has his woman. He has his daughter, right? And he's got his sidekick. He's also got all his proteges. So I definitely want to see that. I want to see more Iron Man. I don't want Tom Cruise, but I want to see more Iron Man.
Alan said the same thing. No Tom Cruise.
You know, previously when Marvel used the time travel concept, you described that as lazy writing, and I have to agree. The additional concept, whether or not it was introduced previously, just solving things by creating an alternate version of any character, it's just lazy writing. That eliminates all the emotional attachment you have to the characters if they can just be, you know, basically turned out like, hey, we got this guy here, he's dead, but guess what? We'll just pull one from another universe. So I don't dig it. Yeah.
But I think in 838, it looks like they didn't even have an Iron Man. I mean, granted, the Ultrons were there, but there was no mention of any Iron Man at all.
Yeah,
death or otherwise living.
That's right. They didn't mention it at all.
So,
well,
Reed Richards maybe did it.
Okay, you have 616 Earth. We all know, like all of us know, 100%, 616 is the primary comic book universe.
Yep.
So all of us as comic book fans should know, like, hey, where are the X-Men? Where's Iron Man? You can't just wake up one day and say this is 616.
Right.
That's not 616. That just bugged the crap out of me, dude. When I heard that, I was like, that's not 616. No. Joe, explain it away. Explain it away, Joe.
But they didn't have like the rights to Fantastic Four and X-Men at the time. So they couldn't, you know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know if you'd consider that lazy writing or just that now they have the rights to those characters. And here's another thing. Now that we're talking about some things that happened. You remember when in Infinity War where Doctor Strange was like, oh, I went through 14 million different scenarios and only one was correct. Mm-hmm. Now watching Doctor Strange 2, how did they defeat Thanos? From the book of Vashante.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when America Chavez was talking about it, he's like, that's just a myth. And Wong goes, no, it's not. And then he looks at Wong and he goes, oh, when you become the Sorcerer Supreme, you know those things. Okay. Well, he was Sorcerer Supreme after the Ancient One had died. Prior to him being snapped and being gone for 5 years. So if that's the case, he should have known about the book of Vashante prior to that and didn't have to give up the time stone. And none of that would have happened, and Iron Man would have been alive.
He probably didn't get the handbook by then.
You are correct. He should have known about it, but he didn't use the book of Vashante. He used the Darkhold.
That's
and
right.
It corrupted him.
I'm pretty sure they got the book of Vashante. That's what they used to defeat Thanos. He got corrupted with the Darkhold, but they went to get that book, and that's what they used to defeat him, if I'm not mistaken. Book Vashante gives the person that uses the book any spell to defeat anybody.
I thought he got corrupted by the Darkhold.
He did. But they also got the book of Vashante to beat Thanos.
I want to touch on what Ellen said about them saying that they were Earth 616 because clearly they're not. Comic books are 616. But if you think about it, I don't know where they get the 616 number. It's got to be something that means something to somebody. But if you think about it like in the DC universe, we're like, oh, well, we're Earth Prime. You're Earth 10. You're Earth 5. Everybody's going to say that they're Earth 1, right? So maybe in the Marvel universe, they're, in MCU, they're all like, well, we're 616. No, we're 616. You're Earth, whatever. Our Earth, just so you know, is 1218. That's my birthday.
The more that I think about it, it's like the whole universe thing just has me a little bit like, okay, so the multiverse was talked about in Spider-Man Far From Home. Okay. Because Mysterio was supposed to come from a different universe. Okay. Then they talked about it in Spider-Man No Way Home. Mm-hmm. And now it seems like, apparently, which I found out listening to another podcast, shout out to Geekscape, is that this movie was supposed to come out before Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh.
But anyway, it's almost like in this movie, there's no real recognition that there was all this nonsense that went on with the multiverse before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
think in Far From Home, it was like a theory. Like they had no real evidence. Mysterio's just pulling things out of thin air to explain why he's there. It's like, oh, I'm from an alternate reality. And I have all this technology. But in Far From Home, wasn't everybody supposed to forget who Spider-Man was? Or do they know that there's a Spider-Man and only forgot that he was Peter Parker? Or did they forget that there was a Spider-Man entirely? Because when they started talking, they did mention Spider-Man. Did they mention Spider-Man in Doctor Strange, Mom?
They did.
Yeah. So I was like...
They just forgot Peter Parker. They don't know that he's Peter Parker.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which was also kind of odd because America Chavez was like, well... now that I think about it, America Chavez came from a different universe. Mm-hmm. And her universe was kind of interesting because even in the comic book, it seemed to be like just open fields and flowers and stuff like that and more advanced than us. So maybe in her universe, there was no Spider-Man.
It was like a utopia
But
society.
Yeah.
but then again, she says she's been in 82 different multiverses, right? Or realities.
Mhm.
You didn't see Spider-Man in one of those 82? Not to mention Spider-Verse, there's so many Spider-Mans everywhere. Like, how do you not see one at least? I don't know. I don't know. And then, like, to your point, Alan, how you said that's supposed to come out before No Way. Is it No Way Home? I was getting confused. If they just make the titles different, it'd probably be better for me. Anyways, I rewatched Loki, you know, the end of it. And do you remember when King was talking to the Lokis and he kind of stopped and he said, that's kind of different. Now I don't know what's going to happen. That would make more sense if it was Doctor Strange 2 prior to the Spider-Man. Because it seemed more and more happened. Because Kevin Feige was saying in an interview that it was No Way Home that triggered that whole thing at the end of Loki. Which I think the Doctor Strange 2 would have been a lot better. But either way, I think it led up to him thinking, wow, I don't know what's going to happen.
I really liked the movie because it was unique. It wasn't a superhero movie by any stretch, and that's what people wanted. That's why people are complaining. And I feel us being comic book nerds, we know that there were a lot of liberties taken with the characters. And I think that bugs a lot of comic book nerds because I picked up some America Chavez comic books here and there. She's super confident. She's like super confident. She's a badass. She's not running around scared. She would have gone head to head with Scarlet Witch. Why am I afraid of the Scarlet Witch if I can just smash her, you know?
Right.
So those liberties were taken in order to move this plot along.
Yeah, I think that's the whole reason they brought her in there. That's pretty much what you told me, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
She's what makes the movie move. But, you know, either way, Scarlet Witch is pretty strong, dude. So, I mean, finally you get to see how strong she really is. And she's not dead. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, she brought Thanos to her knees. She's definitely super strong. You know, she's up there with everybody. You know, you guys think about this, like with the way a lot of these deaths happen in this movie. How is this rated PG-13?
I was thinking that.
You know, there was no curse words, but wow, you know, some people just got straight up killed.
Yeah.
I think it's different now. I mean, if you look at social media in general, like women are half naked on Instagram and it's any kid can log on and see any of that. So, I mean, times have changed.
Are you serious? There's nudity on Instagram?
Yeah, dude. I mean, everywhere, dude. So it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like PG-13. I don't know, man. You know what I mean? It's more explicit on Instagram.
Times are changing.
Yeah.
Those whippersnappers need to stay off my lawn.
What do you guys think about the Illuminati, the ones that they've introduced as Illuminati? Any issues with that?
No, I like the way they had Captain Marvel as it's not Monica Rambeau, right? What's the mom's name?
No, it was Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau, yeah. And I mean, you know, alternate reality happens. You know, maybe she happened to be there that day. You know, and she's not dead. There's no way she's dead. A statue fell on her. You know, if she's Captain Marvel or Photon, you know, there's no way that statue killed her like that. There's no way. Black Bolt, definitely dead. You know, it was cool to see him back. And the way he died, oh my gosh, that was just like. And then Prof, she just snuck up behind him and stabbed his neck. Oh man, that was a tough one. I can't talk anymore. You guys go.
I didn't really like the Illuminati. I just felt like, first of all, I'll admit my comic book ignorance. The Illuminati did all this stuff behind the scenes and they manipulated stuff and, moved stuff along. But what did they really do in the 616 or in comic books? What I mean by that is like, how many Illuminati stories have there been? Like you guys know, I'll get all hyped on like Null, the King in Black, right? Mm-hmm. Null went around murking people for like almost 6 months in the 616, right? And you think about the Hulk, long story of him having all these arcs, right? And everybody made a big deal about the Illuminati, but they're not that big of a deal. They're a concept.
Mhm.
They're the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, but the Illuminati is not that big of a deal.
Right. Yeah, I think when they first started, like, forced to be reckoned with, definitely. But all of a sudden, it's just like, was it? They seem to have been disbanded by the time World War Hulk happened, because he came around and he searched every single one of them down, whooped them down, and they didn't get together to band against him, right? Professor Xavier was like, "To me, my X-Men," and everybody else, they did what they had to do, but. Yeah. I don't know. I should look into that. What caused them to disband? Because, it's a great idea. They're movers and shakers. They're smart. They're futurists. They know something's coming. Did Civil War end that, or no? It was after Civil War that the Illuminati happened, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, to Alan's point, unless you read the comics, does Illuminati really matter to the average movie fan? It really doesn't. It's just fan service for all of us. Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool how they brought in Reed Richards.
Oh, he was so good.
That's one thing I love about Kevin Feige is he kind of listens to people and what they want, and he brings them in. But this Reed Richards was terrible because one, how old were these kids? Because his son is obviously the most powerful mutant in the world. So why wouldn't you have your son there? He's not as strong as you are.
He's not a mutant.
So two, yeah, yes. So two, he's always going to be a mutant. So two, if he's the smartest man, why are you going to tell Wanda, hey, yo, all he has to do is talk? Like, that's something you or Alan would say. Yeah, hey, this guy talks, you're done. She's like, okay, I'm a Matrix your ass. Like, so it's, so you just, and then it's just fan service. I mean, Agent Carter was pretty dope in it. Peggy, she got owned. Yeah, I could do this all day. Probably 17 seconds you can do of the day. And you got on, right?
The day is done.
And then, of course, Monica Rambeau dies because if Rhonda has the ability to change realities. And obviously, look at what she did to each one of their powers. So Monica Rambeau is dead because basically, if you look at her helmet or whatever face guard exploded, she took away her powers. That she just wonders. That's how she's dying from a statue. Everyone's just like, whoa, how's she dying from a statue? Well, that's how. You can't negate that she takes away their powers and not Captain Marvel.
That makes sense. She was like, no more Captain Marvel.
And then every Professor X in a movie gets owned, dude. You're supposed to be the most powerful mutant ever, and I never see it. And then not to mention, everyone got hype. This is fan service, man. Everyone got hyped because of the yellow wheelchair. Everyone's thinking X-Men 97. But as you well know, when Doctor Strange was talking to Sister Strange, they both have the same thing when their sister died in the lake. So that could be another Professor X that's not an X-Men 97 that has the same yellow wheelchair.
You can have 100 different Professor X with a yellow hover chair, and 100 more that have wheelchairs, and 100 more that can still walk. 100 more that have a prosthetic leg, jetpack, whatever. Multiverse is madness.
If nothing else, I feel like this movie was all about fan theories. I'm kind of getting tired of fan theories because we're always wrong. All of us.
Always.
Right?
Always.
All of us. Okay, first people were like, that's Tom Cruise. It was a black lady, y'all. Okay?
Yeah.
Could you be further from Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
They were like, oh, Deadpool's going to be in it. No Deadpool.
Yeah.
And why didn't Professor Xavier, like the X-Men video game, why didn't he do his special combo and Wolverine come out? How dope would that have been? When he was just he's about to be owned and Wolverine comes out and there's this badass fight scene. That would have made the movie, but yeah, they could have had Alfonso.
Yeah.
Put Alfonso in the after credits. I just felt like it was a lot of missed opportunities with the Illuminati.
It just you remember when he says give Doctor Strange a chance because people can't change.
Mm-hmm.
He used that same line to himself in the X-Men movie, X-Men Futures Past, when he's talking to himself because you're able to change. It's cool, just like Reed Richards. In your own words, it's gotten out of hand. If you remember the trailer, the Sinister Doctor Strange said that. So it's obviously they just add that in there because they couldn't really show you Reed Richards saying it, so they made him say it, and then they tricked you I think people are just as disappointed because the trailer doesn't tell you what the movie is about, or it isn't what the movie is about. It's totally different. It should have been called, that should have been Wanda's movie, to be honest. It shouldn't have been a Doctor Strange 2 movie. It should have been a Wanda movie because it was just about her. Like, you forget it's Doctor Strange's movie. You forget about that. He's just there to keep the plot moving with American Chavez.
Yeah.
Was the Dark Doctor Strange in the Incursion universe, was that Strange Supreme from the What If? And if so, why do you think that?
I don't think so, because Strange Supreme he probably went through a similar process, but Strange Supreme is there to suppress Ultron, isn't he? He's stuck. So no matter what, he's going to be there. I think it's just another Strange who's like just went through the same process to get the same power and, beef it up. So multiverse, there could be so many.
Yeah, I agree. It's because he's imprisoned himself to stop Ultron. But what if the person he lost against is Kang?
Yeah, they didn't touch on who destroyed that universe, huh? Unless it was him himself.
Because I rewatched Loki, that's why it's fresh in my brain. Because basically, like, all those Kangs just go around dominating and destroying the worlds.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I am bummed that not one Kang and not one Vision showed up. With it being so Wanda heavy, there should have been a Vision in there to be like, even a soulless robotic Vision. And she'd be like, "My love," and "Why don't you return my love?" And then just like, bam, he's gone.
Yeah.
But then again, like, because I rewatched WandaVision, the last one, he basically, like, the fake Vision. Remember when he touched the android Vision and it made him relive everything that happened?
Oh.
And so he's like, "Oh, dang!" So then he leaves. So the whole point is like, she didn't go try to find him. You know what I mean? Like, right. So I'm kind of like, or he didn't try to find her if he has the memories. He wasn't there to try to say, "Hey, look, I'm back," kind of thing. I don't know if they're saving that for another story, because they had asked her about her contract, and she says Marvel always keeps renewing her contract because they add different stuff, and I'm pretty sure that that's not over yet with that Vision and or Wanda.
Right. That Vision could have all the memories, but doesn't mean he has all the emotion. So, like, he may not have any ability to feel things, but he knows what happened.
Right. But I think I have to disagree, because the feeling is what made him leave. This is not right. And he leaves because of that feeling. If he's an android, he just says, "Whatever, dude. Those are just feelings that don't concern me. I'm going to kick your butt." But he left.
Joe brings up a really interesting point that I hadn't considered, which is, okay, there's two things that have to happen with Vision, because Wanda is essentially like his focal point in life, right? He loves Wanda, which means either he's going to try to stop her because he loves her, or he's going to try to help her because he loves her, even though she doesn't need any help because she's like omnipotent at this point. So where the heck was he? Like, you're just not going to sit on. You're not going to sit on the sideline
at all. And he knew where she was at.
He's got GPS on her. Yeah. He's tapping her phone.
We all have GPS on our wives.
Yeah.
Find my friends.
Yeah. But, like, people are also complaining, like, how is Doctor Strange going to be the most powerful sorcerer and still not be able to stop Wanda? But if you remember at the end of WandaVision, when he was talking to Agatha, she was saying basically, you're more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was Wong.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. He wouldn't have all the access or power that Sorcerer Supreme has. And tell me if I'm wrong, guys, Agatha Harkness said that before Wanda had the Darkhold.
True.
Yeah, she did.
Right.
So basically, like, to your point, remember, Wanda did tell her, like, if anything happens, I know where to find you. So after what happened in Doctor Strange 2, I could see her going back and saying, "Hey, this happened."
Yeah, because they're supposed to make an Agatha Harkness TV show.
Why?
It was Agatha all along. That's why.
Because remember, they take a character that people liked and try to build an entire show around them. Yeah. She's our new Boba Fett.
Really? That many people liked her?
Yeah, people love Agatha Harkness, dude.
Oh yeah,
Oh, wow,
she was fun. She was a lot of fun.
In this movie, they didn't talk about Kang. They didn't talk about like where I guess Kevin Feige is trying to do something different because remember every movie 10 year span was leading up to a super bad boy, which is Thanos, and they have yet to do that at all. Like even the TV series that they have on Disney does not lead up to the next big baddie, and so it leaves all of us with speculation of like, oh, this is what's going to happen. They're going to do this because he's not really giving us much to go on. I think. Do you think this is leading to Secret Wars with Kang? With the incursion? Because at the end of the movie, you have Clea, and she's like, "Hey, there's an incursion happening."
Oh, that's probably going to take him right to what is that? Ant-Man, Quantum of Solace? No,
Quantumania. Quantum
Right.
of Solace was that horrible James Bond movie.
Yeah, like what's gonna happen, bro? Like, was Doctor Strange referring to like Fantastic Four as the '60s band, or was he referring to in his timeline of Fantastic Four?
Oh, when he was talking about the Fantastic Four, I think he was talking about the Fab Four. The Beatles.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it requires someone of Alfonso's comedic intellect to pick that up, dude.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it. I did not get it.
Yeah.
I'll be here all night. Don't forget to tip your waitresses.
I couldn't tell if it was the band or what it was.
Yeah.
But another dude had a theory that if it was a Fantastic Four in the 60s, they're stuck in the quantum realm, and by the time they come out, they're in today's time. That'd be an interesting thing, but
yeah, they could totally pull it off. Like the Fantastic Four did happen around the '60s, and they've been gone. Because there's that whole time frame where right after Captain America got frozen, who knows what happened, right? Mm-hmm. You did have Ant-Man out there fighting. Was he fighting Nazis or was that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was fighting Nazis. So I don't know. After that, could have been Fantastic Four. That could have all happened, and they are stuck in the quantum realm or the negative zone.
You remember when his mom had mutant powers? When she came out of the quantum realm?
Who's that?
And Ant-Man 2. Like his mom came out and she had powers. Yeah, the Wasp's mom came out of the quantum realm and she had powers. Do you remember that? I don't know.
I thought she just had the suit.
No, she had powers. Remember like the villain that Alan was like, what kind of villain is this? But you remember she was like she was having all these pains and stuff, and then the mom cured her, I guess.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
Because how are they going to introduce the mutants? Is it through the quantum realm? Is it the incursion? You just don't know.
It'll be the incursion.
Yeah.
The incursion is essentially Secret Wars Battle World, which allows all the different universes to come together. But Fantastic Four were referred to back in WandaVision. They said that there were 4 astronauts that were lost in space. That's the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
I know they can change their trajectory, but that's the Fantastic Four guaranteed.
Totally, that makes sense. But do they bring Krasinski back for that? I mean, it can be. It doesn't have to be because, of course, multiverse. It could be anybody. But
yeah, I thought that was a bad move because they did say that in 2024 they're going to come out with a Fantastic Four movie, right? So then it's going to be like, oh, it's the same guy who was in this movie, but he's from this fake ass 616. I don't buy that, not at all.
Yeah, if you were with Kevin Feige, Dukes, how would you bring the X-Men in?
At this point, it's kind of they've had so many opportunities, like in Endgame. I'm sorry, well, between Infinity War and Endgame, when there was the tombstones or the lost or the wall for everyone who's been lost in the blip. They referred to, I believe it was Sunspot. Like Sunspot's name was on that wall. So they've been able to do that. And then this whole WandaVision thing, it's like they had a good opportunity. And then they just blew it. It's almost like someone came in and decided they wanted to rewrite how they were going to introduce mutants. They should have used WandaVision. So at this point, I don't care, because whatever they do, it's going to suck. It's going to be lazy writing. Take that shot.
X, what do you think about them? Should they have done a House of M and Wanda instead of this Doctor Strange 2 movie, and then you could have introduced the mutants that way?
I think that would have been a very good idea. And it's still not too late, because she's not dead. She's going to be looking for redemption. And it's just going to be like, you know what? I need to right that was wrong. And, something happened. And you know what? I'm going to fix it, because I want to get back on the lunchbox. So I'm going to bring back my mutants.
So one thing that I really didn't like is when they got to the temple, when they climbed top of the mountain, and they got to the temple, and she's like, look, it's me. This whole prophecy is about me. I'm like, that's just cheesy.
What was cool was the fact that they used Mount Wundagore, because Mount Wundagore was where, it's actually in the comics, it's where High Evolutionary has his home base. It's where Wanda and Pietro were raised. It was where I believe Pietro and Crystal from the Inhumans, where their kid was raised. They even had that cow person. It was a bull that was on the, with Doctor Strange. But in Mount Wundagore, there's this woman who's like a cow, and she was nursemaid for Wanda and Pietro when they were young, and she's kind of the one who raised them. So I was hoping for more out of Mount Wundagore.
And that's the problem. As comic book fans, it's like they give us like, oh, here's a little Easter egg.
Right.
But then that egg doesn't hatch.
It's completely different.
Yeah. Like, because if you take the time to have that name, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but it means absolutely nothing, then why bother? Right. Why?
They have the Easter egg, and then the yoke's on you.
Yeah. Oh, X, I'm impressed. Yes. That better be on a TikTok.
But that's what they do, though. They keep changing stuff, and we all have our theories of what they should do and what they shouldn't do. And yeah, I'm gonna bring it up again, dude. Matrix. The reason why I dislike the Matrix, because it would have been a perfect ending, and that is if Neo would, after what happened at the end of 3, if he would have just woke up and it started over again. A knock on the door, and then there's a rabbit. I thought that'd be a pretty good classic ending to the Matrix. And that didn't happen. And we have a lot of theories of what they should do, and they don't do it. And I think that's why a lot of us get disappointed in some of the stuff. In our minds, we think we're better, and we're like, oh, they should do this. They just don't do it.
It's like we could come up all day long with these theories of what would be better and how it would work and what they should do. But truthfully, do we have the capability of putting that on the screen? We just want to be the idea person. We're going to sell it. You do it.
Right. But see, here's the problem. They present all these building blocks. It's like they build, and it's like, then they pull the block away.
Right.
It's like, but why'd you do that? And then they throw another block in there, and then they pull that block away. So at this point, there are all these holes in the process of the MCU of where they're leading up to. And to Joe's point, it doesn't really seem like they're going anywhere.
Yeah.
There's no 10-year plan at all.
But what'd be cool is if it does seem like they're going nowhere, and then all of a sudden something comes along and puts all the pieces together, and we're like, oh, genius. I'm hoping that's the case, because they have been able to do that. It's like, right, in the first phase, they had all the, they showed you how every piece is going to stick together. It's like, do we want the same thing? Yeah. But I mean, could it be better if, like, they give us this, they give us that, and then all of a sudden it just all ties up in this pretty little bow, like a Quentin Tarantino movie or something?
I don't think that's going to happen. It's wishful thinking. I don't think that's going to happen. Because Thor's in a couple of months, and then when that ends, you're going to stay there for the ending of that. Is that going to lead something to somewhere? Who knows? Because the last few movies, it hasn't been like that. Or the TV shows. I mean, we've said it before, like the TV shows that they come on Disney is perfect segue to do whatever storytelling you want to do, developing the characters that leads into something else.
Right.
WandaVision was too far away to Alan's point. Doctor Strange should have came out before that. It would have flowed perfectly to Doctor Strange, but it didn't. And then you have Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier. At the end of that doesn't lead anywhere at all. It doesn't lead to anywhere. Like, it doesn't pick up like to the next phase is what I'm saying. And if you look at Loki, when that ends, that should lead into Ant-Man.
Right. It should. Yeah. Well, Captain America Winter Soldier, that's going to lead into the Young Avengers, because you've got, no, you don't think so?
No.
Keep going, man.
All of these are leading into Young Avengers.
Here's why I don't think that's the case.
Why is that?
Because Wiccan and Speed are still not in the MCU.
No, they're not.
Okay. And it's like they have the idea to bring in the Young Avengers, but then by not bringing Wiccan and Speed into the MCU, they have to start over. Yeah. There may be some version of Young Avengers, but it's just going to be like this hodgepodge of characters they want to use.
Well, I read the Young Avengers, and when they came out, Wiccan and Speed, you didn't know who they were. You didn't know where they came from. And there were thoughts, well, you know what? Could that be Wanda's kids? How could it have been? They were killed. They never really existed. They were put back into the stones that had, for Mephisto, and they were never to be. So I don't know how they brought them around to come back, but that could be the same thing. It's like, well, there's Wiccan and Speed. Are they Wanda's kids? No, they can't be Wanda's kids. They could be Wanda's kids, but they're not Wanda's kids. It's the same kind of discussion. And I mean, Young Avengers it wasn't a super success in the comics, but it had a pretty good following. So I could see something like that happen. And then it's like, well, where'd they come from? Is it them? They don't have to touch on it for years because they're young and they're Avengers and they're young Avengers. They got to grow.
That, what, Alfonso, as you were talking, I said to myself, they have to age them up. That was one thing I was thinking, is that they have to age those characters up. So you could just drop these two characters in that have all these powers. And the question would be there, because when Wiccan and Speed, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Alfonso, when Wiccan and Speed appeared in 616, they were aged up.
Yep.
It wasn't like they appeared at the same age that they were in WandaVision. They were aged up, which is why no one really knew who they were.
Right.
Okay.
So there'll be a lot of speculation, like, how is it that it's them? And that's what comic books do to you. They have you, like they give you subtle hints and they feed you things, and it's like, well, it's obviously this, but how can it be? And then the story unfolds. So
right.
But then to Alfie's point, bro, they came about because they have some part of Mephisto. That was the storyline behind it. And what do we have not? And what they have not introduced yet is Mephisto, who's key to all these characters in all these movies. That character doesn't even exist. Yeah. And you're leading up to Young Avengers. You're going to make Young Avengers in movies. I don't think it's going to do too well. I think it would do better like on a Disney Plus show.
It'll be a Disney Plus show. Definitely. Yeah. Here's what Marvel's doing. You have a cosmic team. I'm writing this down like you guys are going to look at it. Right? You have an Earth team.
Wind, fire. No, wait.
And then you have a time travel team. And they each have their own big bad. Oh, yeah. And of course we have, let's see here, Midnight Suns, right?
Right.
Joe talked about that a little bit too. Each of these, let's say, lines of Marvel, kind of like lines of different Marvel comic books, they're all going to have their own individual big bads. And there's not going to be any sort of in-game type thing for probably another 15 years.
Right.
Because what's better, Marvel, to build up a cosmic event and a street level Earth event, a time travel event, and a Midnight Suns event, and have those as being the big finale of every year for the next, like, let's say 7 years, and then start working on Secret Wars. That's what they're going to do. That's why they haven't created one strong single plot line before because they're creating multiple plot lines.
I don't know, man. There's a couple of times I dated some women, and at first they were so good and everything went well. And then it didn't go well because it was just all for show. And that's what Marvel is for me right now. You're going to build something up for 10 years and then try to do something different. Well, the average fan ain't going to wait. You can see a lot of angry people on TikTok and Instagram or whatever social media talking about how these movies don't connect. And that's what we've been spoiled. If you're going to do something a certain way and then try to change it, to me, I'm just like, bro, tomorrow's not promised, bro. I'm not going to. You never know if you're gonna be here for 15 years, bro. You're trying to set something for 15 years, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, it's like, come on, bro. Like, get to you're coming out with all these different movies. Now to me, it's like, let me just do slow process and just make as much money as I can from these movies. And because they can. DC couldn't get away with this, but yet Marvel's doing it right now.
Past success allows you to take risks, and that's what Marvel's doing.
Yeah, so Disney owns a lot of stuff. It's a lot of money. They can afford to lose money.
Yeah, and they're not going to lose money. I mean, just given the nature of Disney, people are going to go to see these movies.
I mean, it's number one in the world, right? And what was that? Was it Saudi Arabia? Was it? I can't remember.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia
that said they didn't. I mean, it's number one in the world, so it's people are going to watch it still.
And I'm going to watch it again. And again,
as am I. I loved it. I thought it was great. I love the horror aspect.
Yeah.
It's not a superhero movie. It's a supernatural movie.
Right.
Yeah.
People weren't ready for that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when they were talking first about like New Mutants and they were making it seem like it was going to be a horror movie. I'm like, you know what? That makes so much sense. So it's like,
oh yeah, it's in the comics.
People just start popping up with superpowers. It's not a fun time. It's a scary ordeal if you're just a normal human being. You know, and the things that they can do, and you have, you know, the world's going to fear and hate you.
Joe, would you like to take us home?
Go see Doctor Strange. It's a good movie, even though like we critique things very, very tough, but it was a good movie. It is a great movie, and of course, we all have different views of whether or not it is a good movie, where it's mid. Or if it's a good movie. I'll tell you one thing that's not mid is our podcast. We have opinions. We like to share our opinions. And about 99% of it is our guesses, and 1% we get it right every now and then. But what we do have right is our chemistry, bro. And we want you to share our podcast with your friends and have your friends share with their friends. And and that's what we're about. I didn't do anything.
You guys ready? Dude, you're still laughing. Okay, ready? You guys ready? Until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of Nerd World Order, I am NWO.
We are NWO.
Nerds Redefined. Booyah!